French for reading or German for reading, and they train you to be very good with the academic vocabulary for reading scientific papers. You'll learn a few hundred words that'll be really useful in that field. Conversational vocab, this is what, I don't know if anybody knows what my conversational connectors are. This is focusing on stuff that you say a lot in conversations, but you never see in written form. So, a lot of people just read textbooks or study literature or something, and they can't hold a conversation because they've never been exposed to conversational vocabulary. Journalism, it turns out there are just a few hundred words that appear constantly across journalism, and you need to know them to work in that area. Fiction. Fiction has its own vocabulary. Shoe selling. It's worth knowing the word shoelace if you're doing shoe selling, but not if you're reading Tolstoy. Well, there was a personal stab at a specific person there. I won't say who. Okay. Now, some researchers looked at this whole field, and they found, for example, there's a very important textbook with 300,000 words. It's a big fat telephone directory kind of book for macroeconomics, and they found that just 34 specialist words covered 10% of that textbook. Learn those if you're interested in macroeconomics. Okay. Then, beyond those 6,000 words, Anki-mania is probably not worth it. The words that are going to come up too rarely to make that intensive study worth it. Just let yourself get exposed to them naturally, through extensive listening and reading. Again, according to the book, not according to me. So, extensive listening and reading does three things. It helps you encounter low-frequency words. It helps you enrich and deepen. This is so vital. Enrich and deepen your knowledge of high-frequency words. It's not, I know that now, it's a waste of time of me seeing it again. It needs to be enriched and deepened. And it helps you master collocations. I'm going to come back to those. So, unfortunately, to learn words from context, from reading and listening, you need about 95 to 98% coverage. Super geniuses, of which there are many in this room, but none standing up here on the platform, can manage with 90%. So does that mean you've got to have 20,000 word vocabulary before you start? No. It turns out that polyglots have this fantastic ability at sniffing out manageable material. Things they can handle, things that don't intimidate them. And I say, and many other people have said it actually, that one of the best things a teacher can do is not lecture you on grammar, but point out to you appropriate material for you to be working with. You're ready for this now. Go and look at that now. You won't be overwhelmed and you won't be underwhelmed. An example, graded readers. Great if you're learning English, by the way. Bad if you're learning Dzongkha from Bhutan. Unfortunately, there aren't any. But the Oxford Bookworm series has 6 levels, each introducing 400 words only. Just the level 1 requires a vocabulary of only 400 words. And by the end of the 6 levels, about 10 books in each level, you've learned 2,500 high-frequency words. And they are not baby books. It's not Spot the Dog, or Here is Peter and Jane. It's things like Mutiny on the Bounty and the Phantom of the Opera and stuff like that. Stuff for adults. Stuff that's not going to bore the pants off you. And the aim here is not to make it easy. The aim here is to help you develop vocabulary control by eliminating the deleterious superfluity of very low frequency vocabulary, such as deleterious superfluity. The idea here is that you hit words from many, many, many different angles, and you deepen and broaden your knowledge of it. Okay? Then after those graded readers, then you're ready for authentic materials in your specialist area. You can dive in, they've prepared you. Now, unfortunately, it takes a long time. To learn 1,000 low-frequency words a year needs massive amounts of exposure. You need, oh my God, 1 million words, reading or listening or combination, to give you sufficient repetition to absorb 1,000 words a year. So, I think that's a realistic goal. People want to become masters in days. Be realistic. Okay, that means you've got to read 1 or 2 books a month or read a magazine like Newsweek every week to steadily increase your vocabulary rather than just maintain your current level. Okay, so how do you deal with unknown vocabulary? Well, polynots like me rely on a gloss, that's some kind of cheat sheet with the words in it, which is good for textbooks, bad when you're reading Harry Potter, there isn't a cheat sheet. So then you jump to the dictionary and look every word up and it's bloody slow. It doesn't half make the book far less interesting. But polyglots though, guess. And this is the central thing. Guessing is what it's about. Guessing, it has been shown with probes in the brain. Apparently. I've had probes in many places but not yet in my brain. But that's enough bedroom talk. So, guessing, it turns out, gives longer lasting and deeper meaning over time. You remember things for longer. And your understanding of them gets much deeper because you've thought it through. And, yeah, there you go. And repeated encounters with the words in different contexts mean you think my guess was probably wrong before because now the word means something else in this context. Oh, that doesn't mean to reject the old meaning. That means enhance it, enrich it, elaborate it, and broaden it. Now, good guessing, how does it happen? It's not random guessing. It's based on good clues. Now, knowing similar languages can help. It's easier for him. He already speaks whatever. And that, it's easy because that language has got cognates in it, words that are similar. But it can also hinder due to interference between languages. And polyglots, though, are aware of this. And they have mechanisms for managing it. And that awareness comes from guessing lots of times and learning when to be careful. They rely far more on a wide variety of contextual clues to make their guesses sensible, rather than just on their backgrounds. And they evaluate these clues against each other. There have been loads of studies looking at eye movements and all these kind of things, showing people broadening out and narrowing in to look for new guesses. And it's an automatic process. You don't even know you're doing it once you're doing it. Until they feel that their guess is sufficiently well-founded, or at least as well-founded as they can make it now. So they don't guess randomly. They're actually inferring things from the context. It's informed guessing, which increases the chance that the guessing is sensible. And importantly, they're happy not to know everything. They will leave things for another time. Happy with partial understanding. Polynots hate that. All the research, though, shows that to notice clues and to evaluate them against one another, and then to make good guesses, you need a very strong short-term memory. And without it, you don't notice the clues, you can't remember them, you forget them as soon as you've seen them, and so you can't evaluate them against each other, and so your guesses are absolutely useless, like my guesses. Thankfully, short-term memory can be trained. The downside, though, is that it gets a lot harder as you get older. There's been research by neurologists that show that old guys like me have an ever decreasing short-term memory. I'm just hoping to hold on to the bits I've got left. If you're young, like half the people, 90% of the people here compared to me are very young. Train your memory now if you need to. So, the idea, though, is to gradually increase your reading span with recall. Just start on a couple of words, look away, and recall what you've just read. It doesn't have to be word for word, but close. Then broaden it, and broaden it. And it's been found that just doing this for 10 minutes a day for 6 weeks will make you into a good guesser. I guess. And then, so once you've got the noticing and recall bit, then you can start to apply guessing. Yeah? You can now recall the clues, now you can guess based on them. And again, go back to going small, expand it out again. Until the guessing becomes automatic. And this is what's important, automaticity. Doing things without thinking anymore. This is where you cannot compress experience. You can go through the motions, but you can't compress experience because it's automaticity of guessing that you really need. Strand 3, speaking and writing. Activation is really hard. Learning thousands of words does not mean you'll be able to speak them. It doesn't happen magically, and polyglots are very good at feeling the fear and doing it anyway. This is a Benny type of thing here. Speak early, speak often. 10 words is enough to have a good conversation. Thankfully for me. 2,000 words is considered a mature adult vocabulary for colloquial conversations. You don't need 20,000. You might for reading literature, but not for talking. So how do you activate? You saw my big fat book there on vocabulary, which is dull and boring. Here's my favourite book on activating, how to learn, now how to improve your foreign language immediately, by Boris Sheckman. You can search on my name and I've got a video about it. Why is that book so thin? I want a fat book that makes activation, tells me how to activate. But there's very little research on this, and one reason is thought to be that historically, language teaching is about keeping the student quiet so that they can focus on what they're being taught. And there's a load of research in teaching vocabulary, very little in the student actually becoming active. Richard. Rehearsing at home helps. Just talk to yourself, make a fool of yourself, laugh at yourself in the mirror. Actually, talking to yourself in front of the mirror is one of the best ways to get over the fear of talking in public, it turns out. Seeing another face. Looking yourself in the eye. Okay. Self-talk. Just repeating everything you see in your daily life. And these are things that polynots do not do. Polyglots, it turns out, often do these things without even realizing they're doing them. When they're studying vocabulary, very often, automatically in the back of their head, they'll be thinking of how to apply the vocabulary and just using it automatically rather than thinking, I've just learned it. And this is perhaps the number one thing, is to summarize things. We've seen you can use 400 words to write Moby Dick and these kind of books. So you can use 400 words to summarize pretty much anything in simplify, simplify, simplify. Please practice to all the polynots out there and just do it. And this is another one. Islands mean, this is from here, something very important. And I'm not going to tell you what it means. I want you to buy the book. That author deserves it. Okay. Oh yeah, there you go. For writing, again, you only need 400 words to write some pretty good stuff. You can write Phantom of the Opera. And then you keep elaborating what you've written as your vocabulary grows. So you can write Phantom of the Opera with 400 word vocabulary, and then come back to it and write a better version. This is what islands are about. Write loads of things, keep elaborating them. Strand 4, Fluency Development. Oh, what's fluency? I'm going to go with a really simple definition. Fluency is not a magical process of sounding like a native. No, fluency is not about a big vocabulary. Fluency is about being quick and smooth and in control with what you already have. You can be fluent with your 10-word vocabulary in conversations. And it's training for automaticity. People have asked me in the past, how do you think in a foreign language? And my answer is always, the aim is to learn not to think at all. For the words just to come out automatically. Because it's shown that thinking is too slow for real life. And 4 practices have been shown as essential to gaining fluency without needing to think when you're having conversations. So the first one, overlearning. Learn and learn and learn and learn. Just because you know a word, you don't know it. Keep hitting the word from different angles. It'll get deeper inside you. Do things at a higher speed than you're comfortable with. Polynots will listen to the radio, think, I can't understand it, it's too quick, put it aside and go back to something really slow in the textbook. They never expose themselves to the hard stuff. You need to. Do time-boxed reading and writing. I'm going to read as much as I can in 5 minutes. And you're going to speed. Speak quickly, and try not to make stupid errors, but mostly go for speed. And writing, write an essay as long as you can in 5 minutes. And these prepare you for real life, even though you're going to make mistakes. And then, instead of anything, get out there in real life and have lots of real life encounters. Because that is when all your theory comes into practice and you realise you're tongue-tied. And the only way to not be tongue-tied is to get out there and do it. However, even gaining automaticity with words, you're still not fast enough. Thinking's too slow. Automaticity with words is too slow. You need automaticity with clusters of words. And it's been shown, in other words, these are collocations. I'm going to use this word collocation to mean clusters of words that all tend to go together in real life. Because research has shown that in real life speech, they've recorded native speakers and so on in authentic speech and found that they are speaking at rates faster than the brain could possibly reconstruct the things they're saying if they were just building it on grammar and individual words. So you need to be able to say things like, but collocations are about far more than just speed. It's not just speed training. They deepen our understanding of the rich meanings of individual words. So learning chunks also teaches about individual words. For example, the word cause. This is just a pretty neutral sounding word. Does cause sound positive or negative or neutral? I'd say neutral. But actually, it turns out it collocates with undesirable situations. You don't very rarely say that causes happiness. You'd say, we would say things like, oh, that causes concern. He's causing trouble. Oh, that's a real cause for embarrassment. Cause tends to collocate with negative stuff. So don't use it talking about positive stuff so much. Signal. This is a good word. Who knows what signal means? Oh, nobody? Thank you for the signal. What does it mean?
Well, it's a signal, like voice is a signal, transmitted frequencies, for example, signal analysis.
She sent the king a signal.
Yeah.
A message.
A message. It's a noun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then saw him signal back. Oh, it's a verb. Oh, I was wrong. Oh, here's a very good one that you probably don't know unless you're a native speaker. It was a signal honour. It's an adjective. It means significant or important. And only by hitting the word through massive exposure in many contexts and understanding the various meanings of things, like signal honour is a collocation you see all the time if you read books about signal honours. And collocations are necessary to sound authentic, because a great many things that are grammatically correct, even if you know all the grammar and the vocabulary, well, we just don't say it that way. I want some speedy food. I've not got time, I'm going to get some quick food for lunch. Why do they only say fast food? Because they do. And many collocations are grammatically incorrect, and you might not even realise it. Go to bed. That's grammatically incorrect. You don't say go to kitchen. Go to the kitchen. Why isn't it go to the bed? Because it isn't. Some are just weird. Hell for leather. Who knows what that even means? It means go fast. He's running hell for leather. Quite a rare one, but it'll sound bloody authentic if you use it. Plenty of them are fossilised. By and large. You can't say by and big. Law and order, bird's eye view. If you say, oh, let's take a bird's eye look at this, it won't quite sound the same, will it? Raise an eyebrow. But if you say lift an eyebrow, it means the same thing, but people think you're a weirdo. That was a very good eyebrow raising there. Thank you.
I have the eyebrows for it.
He's got really good eyebrows. But as well as understanding fossilization, these ones are the hardest ones to deal with. Flexible collocations. This is the real mark of authenticity. You can entertain an idea. You can also entertain a belief a bit less frequently, entertain a thought a bit less frequent, you can say it. But these are all collocations you'd see. Why are you saying entertain related to these words? You're not doing a song or dance, but it's what people say. Now, polyglots then actually focus and favour, often without realising it, high frequency collocations over low frequency words. Don't bother learning the rare names of fish when you can learn things like raise an eyebrow. This is important because research has shown repeatedly over about 30 years of research the greatest increases in fluency and authenticity come when learners switch their focus from yet more low frequency words to automaticity of high frequency collocations. And again, polyglots seem to know this and do it automatically. Polynots don't. They add more words to Anki. In short, more than 30 years of research tells us that native speakers know around 20,000 individual words, but several 100,000 collocations. Can you believe it? That's what they're doing all the rest of the time. That's what their 24 hours a day exposure for their whole adult life is teaching them. Not more vocabulary, but rich, deeper meaning in collocations. So to be highly functional in a language, whatever that means, a learner needs to have gained automaticity with about 4,000 general high-frequency words, 2,000 specialist words in whatever their area is, and tens of thousands of high-frequency collocations. And this is what reading all that literature is doing, listening to all those materials is doing. And they're then continually and enriching through exposure the breadth and depth of their knowledge of all that stuff. Whoops. There you go, developing exposure. And the key to achieving all this is to be able to